All right, so up to now we've been using Notepad++, and that's done its job. It's been a great little editor, but it's time to move up. You guys have earned the ability to get an editor that is a little bit more powerful and it has some more bells and whistles, so it'll make your job a little bit more, it'll bring you up to speed a little bit fast. You'll see what I mean. So I came to atom.io on the internet, and depending on if you're on a Mac or a PC, it's compatible with both. No issues, and depending on what machine you're on, it'll provide you with that download. So I'm on a Windows machine, and so I've got a Windows download. It's very easy to install, and you shouldn't have any issues with it. So once it's installed, I opened it up, and this is the icon, this little green atom. From then, I chose Open Folder. I had a folder on my, in fact, I'll show you kind of a cool thing. I had a folder on my desktop called Atom Demo, which I'm using for this particular demo. And now you have to think about opening up a folder rather than individual files, because we're working on a project. And as we've built our websites, we've learned that a website is not just one file. It's files and images and CSS and all of those different kinds of things. So now I can choose Select Folder. I already have it open, so it's not going to let me do it. But in that folder now, I have access to both the index, which currently doesn't have anything in it, and an image. And just kind of give you a visual too, I can remove that project folder, and if I have it on my desktop, which I should here somewhere, me and all my demos. So on my desktop somewhere, this is really a good example because I can't find it. Where's my, all right, well, I can't seem to find it at the moment, but I will look for it again. The point was, if you have a folder here that you want to open, you can just click and drag it over, and it'll also open up that project as well. So I'm not sure why my other one's not here. It must be on my other screen. But anyway, that's another way to do it. So that makes things a little bit easier. You can open more than one project at one time if you wanted to, as long as you don't get yourself confused. So I'm going to add a project folder, so I have more than one here. I'm going to go back to my Atom demo, which was on my desktop. And so now I have access to both folders if I wish to do something along those lines. I could move if I wanted to. Let's see what I have in here. I'm not sure what I have in here. This is from another class. I'm not sure I have any images. I don't. But if for some reason I needed this file into this folder, I could click and drag it and move it into that folder. So there's lots that you can do. I'm going to move it back because I'm not sure why. But anyway, you get the idea. So it's right off the bat. That's kind of cool. I'm going to remove this folder because I don't need it in this demo. And okay, so now we'll just look at what are some of the bells and whistles that we can play with. Well, I purposely didn't do an index.html yet, and I'll show you why. Let's go to File, Settings, and what we're going to be able to do is there's lots of different, I'll call it plugin for the moment, but a lot of packages is what they're called. We think of the word plugin until we learn the packages, and that means that there's lots of things that we can plug in or apply to this editor to make our project easier to program. And there's lots, this is open source, so there's lots and lots of packages available. Let me start off in themes. So this is where you could go if you wanted to change your themes around. If you like this black background, you can change your color background. You can change, I think it's updating. There it is, you can see it. You can change your syntax coloring. So whatever, pick out a theme that works best for your eyes, and there's more that you can play with. But what I'm really more concerned about is the themes is I'm going to click on Install, and it's going to load some packages. Now you can see if you start scrolling through here, and I'll show you at another point, lots of other packages that are available. But there's some in particular that I want you to do a search for and install, and I'll show you how they work. For example, in install, if I start typing the word Emmet, this is a package that you're going to like. So if you type in Emmet, you're going to see the ability, mine says uninstall because I currently have it installed, but yours should say install, so you should go ahead and install that. And once you install a package, you will see it here in your Packages tab. And so it's going to update. So these are packages that I've installed for various projects that I've worked on. And the ones that I think you should install are Atom-Beautify. So in your install, search for Atom-Beautify and install that one. Also install this Atom Live Server. Install this Emmet, which is the one I just mentioned. Install, there's a lot of extra ones here. Don't do all of these, just do the ones I suggest for the moment. Pigments is a good one. And the last one I suggest for us for now is W3c Validation. So I will try and put a link next to this video with those package names, or you can write them down and pause as you go along here. But once you have installed them all, you'll find them in this tab, as mine is. Hopefully you don't have all these extra ones. I don't even know what they all are, to be truthful. But those ones I pointed out are important, and I'll show you how they work and why they are cool to have. All right, so once you've installed them all, you can close out this tab. It's a good idea, not always necessary, but it's a good idea once you install them to close Atom and then reopen it again, so that sometimes some of those packages need to kind of reinstall themselves. All right, so once you have that happen, what are some of the cool things? Well, here's something that Emmet will allow you to do. In the past, when you needed to create an index file, you had to type out a whole bunch of stuff, like the basic skeleton, right? Now what I want you to try is I'm going to type the word HTML:5, and I'm just going to hit the tab key, HTML:5 and tab. And right off the bat, Emmet is one of those packages that we installed, and it creates this shortcut for us so we don't have to type things in. Already like it better than Notepad? I bet you do. And then you'll see automatically down here one of the packages that we installed is automatically doing our validation for us. Recognize this W3c markup validation. So far so good. It's seeing that we haven't created any errors. Let's see if I can create an error from it. Watch this. I'm going to do H1 and tab, and it's automatically going to do my H1. Okay, that's not impressive. If I left off something, maybe I put my name here and save it, you'll see my validation saying, uh-oh, you've got some errors. And so this should look familiar. So now you're getting some instant validation, which is going to come in handy. All right, so next what I'm going to do is I'm intentionally indenting incorrectly. Remember that we're supposed to indent here. So intentionally I am not indenting properly, just to demonstrate some of the packages that we just installed. This is an Emmet feature I'm going to demonstrate. So I'm going to type in IMG and then the tab key. And Emmet is going to create this snippet for me so I don't have to type all of that stuff in. I can type stitch smile.png, and I'm going to hit the tab key, which will automatically tab over to the alt. That's kind of handy. So then I'll put stitch smiling, stitch TCH smiling. That's kind of handy, and save that. Okay, great. I'm going to do this. Now I'm going to create a paragraph, which is just a P and an indent. But I'm also going to do the greater than, which says create this tag and then some children inside of that tag, or text inside of that tag, so I could write some text. But I'm going to use that lorem ipsum, which is just garbled text. It's a placeholder for text that we have played with in the past. You can just hit tab at this point and it'll put some lorem ipsum in there for you, or you can specify, I think this is 50 characters if I'm not mistaken, and then I'm going to hit tab and it automatically puts in all that lorem ipsum for me. That's great. Notice the circle at the top here indicates that I have not saved, so I'm going to Control S to save, or File Save, and then the X shows up, but I can't see all of that text. No worries, I got a solution for you. Let's click View and toggle Soft Wrap, and that'll bring the text around for us to see. All right, that's good. What else did I want to demonstrate with this? I will do this. Let's create a style sheet. So I'm going to right-click on my folder and choose New File. Give it a name. It's going to be styles.css, and enter. And I'd like to see them side by side. It's easier to see what I'm styling if I can see them side by side. So I'm just going to click on the tab. I'm going to hold down the click, not letting go. Click and drag either to the right. You can see the shaded area that's going to drop off to the right there, or I can drag it down if you prefer that view. So either way, I think I'm going to go to the right so I can see them side by side instead of on top of each other. I need to create a link to that style sheet, so I'm just going to type the word link and tab, and that's kind of handy so I don't have to worry about all of that. I'm going to type the word styles.css and save that. So we should have a style sheet. Not quite sure. Let's see. Remember I told you I purposely didn't indent? All right. If you look under Packages and Atom Beautify, try this Beautify. Now this menu option is here because we installed that package. It wasn't here before that. Now that we've installed the package, it included it in our drop-down. So I'm going to click on Beautify. And you see that it's going to do all of that nice indenting for me, so I don't have to worry about that like I did before. That's handy. We've got the validation going on here. Will it validate my CSS too? I think so. Before I do my CSS, let me demonstrate this as well. I'm going to go to Packages and Atom Live Server. Well, I've already got one going, so let me stop it. It says you can't have two. So I'm going to do Atom Live Server and start my server. And you can't see it because it just went off screen here. So let me pull it down for you to see. So I've got too much space going on here. So let me close this together so I can see these side by side. You can toggle this menu pane left and right. You can see this little arrow here that's popping up, so I can move that off screen for the moment. You can see if I move my mouse back to the middle, I get the arrow open, so I can bring that back. So however you need to do that. All right, so I've got my name, and Stitch is huge here, but because this is a live server, if I make a change here, I'm going to say width, or let's do height, just make it smaller. Height equals, we'll do something small, and then when I save it, Control S, my live server automatically picks it up, so I don't have to refresh it. It's just done automatically, which is kind of handy. So now let me test out my style sheet and make sure that I have that working. Background, let's see what we're supposed to do. Body, background color. It's got a lot of nice little pop-ups for me, so I can, and let's try green. And I'm going to save that, and my live server picked it up automatically. But now look what Pigments is doing. Pigments tries to give me a visual of what that color is. In other words, I don't know what this is going to be. 5589. I have no idea what that's going to be. Let's just see. Well, I can see it here, but the Pigments is also going to try and give me a demonstration, so it's also easier to pick out, if I can see the color, what element I assign that to. What if let's see if it validates my CSS. Let's do something like this and see, oh, my CSS gave me an error. That's not a valid color. So the CSS validation is working as well. So let's fix that color. That's ugly. All right. So anyway, that is a start with Atom. I think it's a good editor to get comfortable with. I'm getting a warning here. The warning is upset because it's recognizing that I've set the background color, and it's trying to make sure that, are you sure you have a color that's readable on there? I probably don't, but I will get rid of the warning. Let's see, color. Let's do something simple. And so now I've got no errors found. So you got your validation going. So you've got a lot of things, a lot of tools that are available to you within the editor that we didn't have before. That should make your workflow go a little bit easier. So I would highly recommend you start downloading Atom and get out of your comfort zone with Notepad++, because remember at one point that was not a comfort level, and get comfortable with a new editor, because there's lots more tools available to you using this one.